Hi. Every Sunday, Siren and I get together and talk about our week and spend the day kind of reviewing what's been happening and what we're feeling and what we're learning. And so we just thought we would maybe do it for the rest of you to be part of. So it's Sunday, it's March 31st, last day of March. We've survived the month that we thought we would never survive. 2 months of hell, which everybody is going through. So that's kind of what one of the things that inspires us to 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 talk together and share it with you guys. Because for me personally, having Brenda to share this with and to just say my feelings and my thoughts and just be able to express my feelings has helped a lot. So we thought maybe just having our conversations on video and letting other people listen in might help. So if anybody has anything to say, and you leave comments in the comment section. Obviously, this isn't live video, so we won't be able to answer them now. But if anybody has any insight, that they want to share as part of our conversation, or any questions that you guys might have, or anything like that, then we'll definitely be reading them, and we can talk about them in our next one. So this week has been kind of a challenging week. Even though there's a lot of positive things going on, and it seems as though the worst is over. For me personally, I have been really challenged by, I don't know, a few things that just kept coming up, and they just kept coming up to me. I'm pointing out the way that people see Michael, even people who love him or people who are behind him and believe in his innocence. It seems as though kind of like a common thought is that he should have protected himself, that he should have done things differently, that he was too innocent or too naive, not innocent, too unaware of the real world. And for me, when I read those things or hear those things, it hurts me so much, because I really don't think that's true. I don't think he made mistakes. Yeah, we were talking about Michael being, and he said it himself, to be not childish, but childlike. And so I'm just thinking about one of the entries in his book, Dancing the Dream, which is called Innocence. And maybe we'll just read that right now, since I have my book right here. Seems like a good place to start. Yeah, innocence has been really, really coming up for me a lot too, like the innocence of him and the innocence of all the innocents that are in the world and children, and all of it has been like what he seems to be talking about a lot. And so to have his innocence sort of used against him as if he had too much of it and was not aware enough of the world, I don't think that's right. Okay, so this entry is called Innocence. It's from Michael's book, Dancing the Dream, which most of you probably have, but if not, here it is. You can get it at Amazon UK right now, which I think is the only place you can get it that I know of. But okay, here it goes. It's easy to mistake being innocent for being simple-minded or naive. We all want to seem sophisticated. We all want to seem street smart. To be innocent is to be out of it. Yet there is a deep truth in innocence. A baby looks in his mother's eyes, and all he sees is love. As innocence fades away, more complicated things take its place. We think we need to outwit others and scheme to get what we want. We begin to spend a lot of energy protecting ourselves. Then life turns into a struggle. People have no choice but to be street smart. How else can they survive? When you get right down to it, survival means seeing things the way they really are and responding. It means being open, and that's what innocence is. It's simple and trusting like a child, not judgmental and committed to one narrow point of view. If you are locked into a pattern of thinking and responding, your creativity gets blocked. You miss the freshness and magic of the moment. Learn to be innocent again, and that freshness never fades.
Yeah, so that's the criticism of him, is that he should have protected himself. But, you know, protecting yourself, when you do that, you lose your innocence. And his whole point of his demonstration for us was to show us our own innocence and to bring it out in us instead of push it down. So the way he was is like this. It's exactly his writing about innocence is what we're aiming for. It's not what we want to get away from.
Yeah, it's the first line of this entry is it's easy to mistake being innocent for being simple-minded or naive. And I feel, and I know Brenda feels because we've talked about this before, is that Michael was often misinterpreted as being simple-minded or naive, or at the very least naive. And here he's explaining that innocence is nothing to do with that. Innocence is about purity and our natural spiritual state, where we are living so truthfully from our hearts and from our spirit that we don't feel the necessity to protect ourselves anymore. And so it's not that you don't realize, and Michael knew, that people could use it against him. It happened in the past. It's not like he forgot about it. But that he did not allow the darkness in other people, or I guess just the darkness in other people, what they were trying to take from him, or whatever their negative approach to him was. He didn't allow that to alter who he was. His integrity was so great and he believed so much in innocence that he continued to live it regardless of how vulnerable it made him.
And that doesn't mean that he wasn't aware of the facts or what was really going on. It wasn't that he was sheltered or he didn't face things. He knew exactly, and that's one thing I've learned in the last 2 months is how his life was. Like, I feel like I've been going through it, what it was like, and seeing the reality of the cruelty and the evilness that's out there that I had my rose-colored glasses on and didn't understand, but I understand it. I understand it now. I've felt it. I've gone through it, and I was feeling like I've lost my innocence, that I could never be that again, that I could never feel that way again, and never trust anybody again. But he did it. He knew all of this, and he was still able to keep it. And so that's what I think he's teaching us, is how to do that, and how he did it was by being with children. That's how he could go back to that purity and not be tainted by everything else around it. And I think it works. Whether we have real children, like I have grandchildren I can spend time with, and I feel like I'm filling myself up when I'm with them and playing with them. But you don't need to have real children. You just need to be your own. Look for your own inner child. Look for your own joy and what makes you feel alive and happy and innocent again. It's a way to cope with this, and I think that's what he did to cope.
Yeah, and to also to know that innocence is the answer to making the world a better place. You know, if Michael is the example of the eternal child, you know, the eternal inner child that we all have, and that kind of gets lost as we get older, and you know, our attention gets turned to other things, and we get exposed to people whose intentions are not very good, or we just feel vulnerable, and how much strength and conviction and beauty it takes to see the things that Michael saw, the suffering that he saw. He didn't look away from anything. You know, he wasn't hiding away in an ivory castle. He was out there and participating. You know, seeing sick children and homeless children and children who didn't have any love, and making it his responsibility to help them in whatever way he was able to help, but also by being a living example of how the child spirit is not something that we want to move past. If we can keep that child spirit in our lives as we become adults and cope with the world, because I believe that that's what made Michael who he was. You know, to be the target of such darkness, such, you know, people who wanted things from him and who intentionally tried to hurt him, and for him to keep joy in a life like that is really miraculous, and it's such a beautiful way of showing us that we can live with joy, and we can be pure, and we can keep our innocence, and that's not a weak thing, and maybe people might take advantage of that, but that shouldn't shift us from our purpose. You know, how much integrity would he have if he said he came here to help the children of the world, and to make sure they were loved, and to give them something that they had been denied in their life, and then to have, you know, bring them into his world at Neverland, and to have somebody twist that in a dark way, and then for him to abandon his sole purpose,
his whole reason for being there, and his whole all the good that he was doing, that he believed in. His whole heart and soul was that. So to protect yourself and say, I better not do this, I might get in trouble, that's not Michael, and that's not what he wants us to be either. Something hard comes along that is against your integrity, you can't buckle to it. You have to stand up for what you believe in. That's the whole point of life. It's what he's teaching us. And I love that Michael's followers are stepping up and doing what we know, and standing behind him, and being who he's shown us how to be. I'm so proud of us for what we've done in the last 2 months. Everybody, it's been the most terrible, hard time, and it's also been beautiful in so many ways. And that's the way Michael's being his. That's what it's like. Painful and beautiful at the same time.
Yeah, and evolving, you know. But this time, I feel this last couple months has been about Michael's innocence, and you think innocence as far as these crimes that they're accusing him of, but when you start to look into the details of what they're accusing him of, you cannot recognize his innocence of the crimes without recognizing his innocence as a human being and the embodiment of innocence that he is. And I've said before that Michael wasn't just innocent, but he was a carrier of innocence to other people. He wanted to bring innocence into the hearts of other people. He wanted children to keep it, but he also wanted to offer it and make people realize, adults, that innocence isn't something that's just attached to children, that it's a part of our spirituality. And so, bringing adults to Neverland and engaging them in water fights and taking them on rides and letting them feel what it's like to be a child again, and he talked about escapism in his music as well, and all of that being to awaken the child, and let us experience our inner child again, and that is the level of innocence that Michael embodied, was that he was the embodiment of innocence and the carrier of it, and teacher of it.
And that's what he believed would heal the world. Like he said, the magic, the wonder, the innocence of a child's heart is the seeds of creativity that will heal the world. That I really believe that. That's what he said. So he saw more than we see. He didn't see less than we see. He saw everything, and when we can see that in him, then we can see it in ourselves. Yeah, and he's so beautiful.
So, anything else? It's kind of short.
Yeah, that feels good. Thanks, you guys. Let us know what you think. Give us some comments.
Yeah, so we'll see where this goes. Hopefully, I think we're hoping to have other people involved too, maybe on the phone or something. We have like so many amazing people in the community who have really wise and deep understanding of Michael's purpose, and we would love to have more conversations like this with you. So thanks for listening, and I don't know when the next one will be. We don't really want to do a timetable, just whenever Spirit strikes us, I guess.
Not every day, though.
No, maybe not even every day. But we'll see where it goes. Yeah, we appreciate your feedback. Just let us know how you feel about the things we said, and we're here to learn, so we'd really love people to offer their wisdom and share their hearts with us. So thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.